Dobrodošli, lijep pozdrav još jednom. Ovog puta vrlo specijalna je prilika, naime 100 je dana do početka Olimpijskih igara u Parizu. 100 dana znači da nema još puno vremena za Pariz, nema još puno vremena za Francusku da se pripreme. Upravo zato došli smo do francuskog veleposlanika, njegove ekscelencije francuskog veleposlanika ovdje u Hrvatskoj, da pitamo kako je Pariz spreman. Uostalom, dobra je i poveznica s time da je jučer krenula i štafeta, odnosno baklja, zapalila se u Grčkoj i krenula je iz Grčke prema Francuskoj. Pa, gospodine veleposlaniče, lijepo vas je vidjeti i hvala vam lijepo što ste nas ugostili ovdje. Jučer je krenula baklja iz Grčke. Uskoro dolazi u Marseille, uskoro dolazi u Francusku. Koliko je to vama 100 dana, točno 100 dana prije početka igara, značajno i bitno?
Well, 100 days before the games, we've been preparing this event for 7 years now, and I could even say for 100 years, because it will be the first time in 100 years that we organize again the Olympics, and it will also be the first time in our history that we organize the Paralympics. So for us it's a very exciting event, and the excitement is building up with this lighting up of the flame yesterday in Olympia. We are now waiting for it in Marseille, and then it will travel all across France, and I think it will be a good occasion for all French people all around the country, including in our overseas territories. The flame will also go to Tahiti, it will go to French Guiana, it will go to the French West Indies. So for people from all over France to, really feel that the games are coming.
Jako važna je stvar da igre nisu samo u Parizu, nego su zapravo ovo što ste i rekli širom zapravo Francuske i čak izvan Europe, ali kako se Parižani, kako se Francuzi osjećaju, kakva je atmosfera?
I think the atmosphere is building up little by little. For example, the flame was lit up yesterday, but before that the President of the Republic inaugurated the Olympic village for the athletes. He also inaugurated the new aquatic center, which will host some of the sport events for the Olympics. And also we start building the temporary installations in the very center of Paris, close to some of our monuments, so people can see that little by little the games are coming, and I think they get more excited. Of course, you will always have people who say, I prefer to stay quiet during summer and will go somewhere for holidays, but I think most Parisians and most people in France are very excited about what's going to happen.
Siguran sam da je tako. Ono što je također jedno bitno pitanje, to je osiguranje, sigurnost ne samo stanovnika Pariza, ne samo stanovnika Francuske, nego i svih gostiju, sportaša i trenera.
Of course, the Paris Olympics and Paralympics will be a huge event. We expect more than 16 million people to, in a way, participate to some parts of it. We expect, for example, for the opening also to have more than 300,000 people attending the ceremony. And it's a little bit like organizing 43 World Championships all at the same time. So we know it's going to be a huge challenge, but we've been working on it very thoroughly for the past 7 years. And of course, security, we know it's a concern. We mobilize a lot of forces. Just to give you an example, there will be around 35,000 policemen and women mobilized, and around 17,000 people from our military mobilized on average every day during the Olympics. So we take this question very seriously. Our embassies all over the world receive regular risk assessment briefings from our intelligence agencies, and we share this information with our partners from the different countries so that they know that we take it seriously. And by the way, we also have mobilized our foreign partners, including Croatia. There will be several police officers, sniffing dogs, drone pilots also mobilized by the Croatian police, who will come to Paris and to the site, the venues in France to help us with security.
To je lijepo znati za naše turiste koji će dolaziti, odnosno ljudi koji žele vidjeti Olimpijske igre. Kad smo već kod toga, vaš predsjednik Macron je nekoliko puta naglasio da imaju 3 varijante za svečano otvaranje. Na Seni, Trocadero, ali i na Stade de France.
Oh, it will be the one on the Seine. I think, basically we are working on plan A. We want this opening ceremony to be very unique, very special, historic, iconic, in the middle of the city, enjoyed by as many people as possible, and to make this celebration also for athletes something they will remember all their life. So we are definitely working to make it work on the Seine River as planned. But of course, as we mentioned, security is an issue, so we also have to do some contingency planning and, you know, try to evaluate some different scenarios. So that's why the President mentioned that there were possible different scenarios, but the one on which we are really working daily is the one on the Seine River.
To je prekrasna ideja, moram reći, ovo na Seni, to nikad nije viđeno, naravno i to je divno. Moram vas svejedno pitati, bio sam u Parizu možda 50 puta i svaki put sam imao problem sa prometom. Kako će sada biti?
Well, Paris is a huge city, you know. If you take Paris and its region, it's something like 10 million people living there, so every day a lot of people commute by public transportation. The Paris Olympic Committee really wanted to make these Olympics greener, which means that we want to make, and we will achieve, in fact, the fact to make all the Olympic sites in and around Paris accessible 100% by public transportation and also by bicycle. So we've built something like 400 kilometers of bicycle lanes to allow people also to move with bicycles. But public transportation, it's a lot of people to transport. I've seen different figures from 500,000 to 800,000 people every day. The fact that it's happening in summer season also, when part of the Parisian will be on holiday in some other places, makes it a little bit easier. But we've also made sure that the number, for example, of trains will be increased by 15%, while usually in summer it will be decreased. This year there will be more transportation, and we'll make sure that everyone can get to the venues without problems.
Pariz neće biti naravno samo zbog Olimpijskih igara mamac za turista, nego će biti i samo zbog Pariza. Koliko ima smještajnih kapaciteta i je li Pariz spreman za to?
Well, as you mentioned, Paris is also a tourist city even when there are no Olympics, so there are a lot of capacities in terms of hotel and also in private hosting, you know, rooms, room rentals and so on. So I think if you take all this capacity, it will be okay. I mean, Paris again is quite used to welcome a lot of tourists every year.
To sam siguran. Ono što je dosta važno, da ste već, sami ste rekli na početku, da je dosta objekata već se počelo pripremati. Neka su montažna, neka su stalna, neka će biti razgrađena, neka će ostati. Koja su to, možete li nam malo pojasniti?
Yes, I think one of the objectives of the Paris Olympics was also to have greener Olympics. The aim is to cut the carbon emission by 2 compared to, for example, the Beijing or the London or the Rio Olympics, and we are on track to achieve this objective. So part of this is realized through using existing facilities. Actually, most of the Olympic venues will be either existing venues such as Stade de France, the Bercy Arena, the arena in La Défense, also where water polo, for example, will be played. So all of these are existing venues. Then also using iconic places with temporary facilities. For example, beach volley will be played right close to the Eiffel Tower. Judo will be also in a temporary facility, and this will be the case for a lot of the venues of the Olympics, so that we diminish the impact on the environment. And then we also built a few new facilities. One, obviously, the Olympic Village for the athletes, but this is also part of the legacy of the Olympics, that these 4,000, I think, flats that have been built will be social housing, housing for people with lower incomes after the Olympics. And we have the brand new aquatic center that has been built that was not there before. But most of the venues indeed are either existing ones that have been, you know, a little bit upgraded or temporary facilities.
Koja su francuska sportska očekivanja? Vi ste jedina zemlja koja u svim sportovima ima predstavnike.
Well, of course we are at home, so we have high expectations. I think that part of what we want to do with the Olympics is also to build a legacy for increasing sport practice in France at all levels, from, you know, really practicing sports in schools to really high-level competition. I think in terms of medals, our record for France was 43 medals in Beijing. So, you know, we will try to
make 44.
Yeah, well, to have even more medals, to be in the top 5. I think it would be our objective. Meanwhile, we know that the competition is getting, you know, even more fierce, because more countries, which is a good thing, are participating also and are more competitive at high level. I was listening to the radio this morning, and one French athlete mentioned that the world champion for javelin, for example, is from India. There is also a very good athlete in pole vault who is from the Philippines. These are countries who did not perform until recently in the Olympics, and that's great news that, you know, more and more people participate to the celebration all over the world. You mentioned judo, the sports athlete like Teddy Riner, because it will be his last Olympics, and he could break some new records in terms of medals if we win. So I think a lot of French people will support him. There are also new hopes like Léon Marchand in swimming. And for sports team, you know, we know we have a good soccer team, we have a good handball team, and we also have new champions coming from the NBA. So we may also try to get some medals in basketball. And also one more thing is the rugby 7. This is France is very strong in rugby at 15, but not that much until now at 7. But the very big star of this sport in France, Antoine Dupont, has decided to play in rugby at 7 for the Olympics. So we also have some good expectations.
A moram reći da imate i hrvatskog trenera u vaterpolu, tako da i tu možete puno očekivati. Ali ono što mene zanima je koliko ste uspjeli u ovo vrijeme, koliko ste u Hrvatskoj vidjeti hrvatski sport, koliko ste uspjeli vidjeti koliko Hrvati vole sport i koliko zapravo mi želimo da i naši sportaši tamo uspiju.
Well, first, thanks to our new Croatian coach, I think we have improved in water polo and we are qualified. So maybe not to the level of the Barakude, but we are getting better. No, I think that in terms of Croatian sports, obviously your participation in the Soccer World Cup was decisive in making you know, Croatian sports better known worldwide. First in 1998, of course, in France, but then also in 2018, and people, I mean, my sons are of course fans of the soccer team, but they are also fans of Luka Modric, and I think that those sport athletes make a lot to make Croatia better known worldwide. I remember also when I was young, Goran Ivanisevic. So, you know, I think that Croatia is quite identified as a country, sports-loving country, and especially performing well in team sports. Handball also, of course.
Ne znam hoćete li vi biti ovdje ili ćete biti u Parizu, ali kako će se ova zajednica koja tu radi u ambasadi, u veleposlanstvu, kako ćete vi pratiti Olimpijske igre, koliko ćete moći i što zapravo vi ovdje možete napraviti da biste pomogli i Hrvatima koji žele otići u Pariz na Olimpijske igre?
Well, the whole network of French embassies all over the world is mobilized for these Olympics. In many countries, it's also because we have to make sure that the Olympic family, all the athletes and all the federations, can get a visa to go to France. So it's a huge challenge in some countries because it's a lot of visas to deliver, and we have to make sure that there is no mistake. Here in Croatia, because you are in the EU and in Schengen, there will not be such an impact on our embassy. But we want to communicate first a lot about the Olympics, reassuring Croatian public that they can go to France and participate to this big celebration safely, and that they will be welcome. Again, as I said, working also with the Croatian police to make sure that they can also contribute to the security of the Olympic Games. And also try to make sure that even if you don't go to France, you can feel here in Croatia that you participate somehow to the celebration. So together with the Croatian Olympic Committee, we have already worked on a number of events. For example, we are working with school children in arts competition around the Olympics. We will also collaborate around the Olympics Day. We plan to organize a demonstration of also of the new Olympic discipline in Paris, which is called breaking, which is kind of breakdance, but in a sports competition. So it's a new sport, so we will introduce it to the Croatian public in June, and we are also working with the Croatian Olympic Committee on a number of events, cultural events, exhibitions, and so on and so forth, to really make people feel also in Croatia that the celebration happens in France, but everybody around the world can participate.
Hvala vam lijepo na tome. Na kraju, koliko vi osobno možete poručiti Hrvatima ovdje da zaista trebaju otići tamo ili masovno na veliki način gledati Olimpijske igre?
Well, first it's, I would say, dobrodošli u Pariz. In Paris and all other locations, because as I said, there are a lot of very attractive locations to participate to the Olympics. There will be some ceremonies organized in Marseille, but there will be also some sports organized in Marseille, like sailing, for example, in Lille, in the northern part of France, for handball, for example. So it will, and in Tahiti, for those who want to go far, surfing will take place in Tahiti, so it could be a good occasion to visit this very beautiful island. But again, whether you are in Paris, in France, to enjoy the atmosphere over there, or if you watch it here on TV with friends, it will be a great celebration. And again, I think that we want to make those Olympics special, iconic. Watching sports is always fun, but watching sports taking place just under the Tour Eiffel or the Grand Palais in Paris or in the Invalides, places that you see usually as a tourist, but seeing athletes competing in those, wonderful locations, I think it will be very special.
Hvala vam. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Hvala vama.